This is the Rebel Call channel. Welcome to today's show. Cern is wishing themselves a happy 70th anniversary. As if they're not egotistical and narcissistic themselves, they actually are wishing themselves a happy birthday. And I guess we all should wish them a happy birthday as well. For 70 years of absolute hell. 70 years of summoning demonic entities, which is what they do at Cern. 70 years of horrible inventions like the internet, which has psychologically ruined so many lives, and of course has brought people into the hive mind and will enslave the future one day. So 70 years at Cern being celebrated. And what are they celebrating by doing? Well, if you haven't heard, Cern just recently have observed a rare phenomenon at the subatomic level that could lead to a new understanding of the standard model of particle physics. Now, everybody who hears that sentence has no idea what that could possibly mean. But anytime CERN discovers something new and lets us know about it, what we can expect is that we're getting closer to them revealing what they're actually doing, which is opening up a black hole, so they speak, right? They say that they're opening a black hole. They want to discover what type of particles and all these things that nobody understands is going on. But at a spiritual level, if you look at it at a spiritual level and you understand what they're trying to do, and they talk about, well, you know, we're going to see what's going on the other side of the universe, you start to say to yourself, wait a minute, is what they're saying at CERN actually using the word science as a covert word for summoning the quote-unquote supernatural? Aiming to open gateways and realms? Well, that's exactly what they're doing, because they tell you that they're aiming to open realms and gateways. So does that sound like something that has to do with science, or does that sound like something that's actually spiritual? So for their 70th anniversary, of course, they're letting us know this big news about this rare form of decay from a subatomic particle. And the experiment is called NA62. I'm surprised it's not called CC666 or 33666. Researchers detected and measured an ultra-rare form of decay for a subatomic particle called a kaon. This is one of the rarest interactions in particle physics ever observed. According to the scientists, fewer than 1 in 10 billion kaons decay in this manner. So of course you're hearing this and you're just going, I don't know what this guy's saying. I don't know what that even means. Let me get back to my day-to-day life. Well, whenever they tell us that they're doing something and they're discovering things like this, you can expect spiritual warfare to be even more intense than ever before, because we're getting closer and closer to the lifting of the veil. And that's what they're really attempting to do, to lift the veil, to bring over what's on the other side. I mean, how much stuff have I shown you over the last couple of years involving portals, right? Even just most recently, Eminem with the portal, Katy Perry with the portal. All of these musicians are using this portal symbolism in their videos and summoning entities and showing you aliens coming across from the other side, which of course isn't really aliens. What these grays depict are actually demons, demonic entities. And that is what they're attempting to do at CERN. So they say the standard model predicts that kaon decay, which is called a golden channel. So you have gold there. You have your Apollo reference with a high degree of precision. As such, observing the phenomenon in action provides a unique opportunity for testing our current understanding of the subatomic world. If we measure a deviation from the standard model, it's a clear sign of new physics. So they're telling us that they've discovered new physics. They go, without getting too far into the weeds, what you need to know is that the ultra-rare decay the scientists were looking for, which is charged kaons, disintegrate and produce three other particles, a charged particle called the pion, as well as a neutrino and an aminorino and an antineutrino. Okay, so nobody knows what that possibly means. So why are they publishing this stuff? Why do they tell us these things? Well, they don't really have to tell us anything going on, because the majority of people have no idea. Well, of course, this is a cover for what they're actually doing. So we can expect to see more and more activity in our realm that they're going to tell us has something to do with science. Oh, well, there's this portal all of a sudden open in New York City, in downtown Manhattan. And you're supposed to say, well, this is a wonderful thing, right? It's just the kaon atom mixing with the pion atom and the neutrino atom and the antimatter, neutrino, antineutrino, right? So some of these other articles about what CERN just did really summarize it in layman's terms, right? Here's another article that's out there here's an update on what's going on at CERN. And the headline is, what happened to Earth's 17-mile-long death machine that people would fear would destroy the planet? Well, what happened was something wild, and it's a clear sign of new physics. So what does new physics mean? Well, according to encyclopedia.com, new physics could be defined as the term new physics referring to a range of fundamental developments and paradigm shifts that occurred in the physical sciences during the last half of the 20th century. These include the theory of quarks, which is essential to the standard model of fundamental particle physics, the study and application of macroscopic manifestations of quantum phenomena such as superconductivity, superfluidity, lasing, and other types of spontaneous quantum self-organization, the realization of electroweak unification, and the quest for grand and total unification of the four fundamental interactions. So, in layman's terms here, nobody understands what that even means. Nobody understands what new physics means. Nobody understands what old physics means. But the key thing to take out of it is that phrase paradigm shifts, right? Shifting in reality, shifting in what's happening in our realm, because they're obviously messing with things in our realm. Now, a lot of people believe in certain theories like the Mandela theory. Some people don't believe in that theory. We know that CERN themselves has hinted at that, right? For those that don't know what the Mandela effect is supposed to be, it's an altering of the things that are happening in our reality, right? A lot of things that people might either be misremembering, which some people blame on 5G and some of the other stuff that they're doing to our brains on a day in, day out basis, including dumping chemicals from the sky on us. But some people believe that they're actually causing a paradigm shift so that people aren't misremembering things. They're altering and changing things that are occurring. And CERN themselves, for anyone out there that laughs off the Mandela effect, which I have done in the past, but I've changed my perception a bit on some of the stuff going on the more I've learned about what this new physics and the stuff that CERN is doing is, what it actually means, that they very well could be altering time and altering these things. And if you actually look at some of these CIA operations, like Operation Ajax or the time travel experiment, Project Pegasus, these are actual government operations. So when you look at that, you start to say to yourselves, well, even though I can't comprehend this in the reality that we're in because of everything we've been told and how we view the world, we have to start looking at this stuff and say, why is the government experimenting in these things? Why do movies like Back to the Future come out? Somebody creatively came out with that, but if we know how predictive programming and this stuff works and all this stuff that they're doing at CERN, we have to reevaluate how we look at some of these things. Now, I'm not saying the Mandela effect is true. I'm just throwing the idea out there that we can't dismiss anything anymore. We can't dismiss anything. I mean, there's stuff out there about scientists saying they can reverse time in a quantum system. So clearly all the stuff that they're trying to do at CERN is they're trying to prepare you for these types of things. And with the predictive programming we've seen over the years with time travel and going back in time to change things, these are all seeds that have been planted. So the stuff that they're doing at CERN goes beyond even just bringing over demonic entities. And again, this is something the government has been experimenting with since the 1940s and 50s, and who even knows before that. That's just documented stuff where you could find CIA documents, government documents that show you that this is what the intelligence agencies have been working on things like time travel. And then, of course, we look at a lot of the patents and things that Tesla discovered, and then you could also tie in the fact that Donald Trump's uncle was the person that got a lot of these time travel documents, which is another video for another day. So if you're getting confused as to what I'm saying here, in addition to it being CERN's 70th birthday, they're talking about CERN just recently doing something that they describe as wild, that they describe as new physics. And what eventually they're going to do is start revealing the things that they're actually doing at CERN. And they're not going to reveal it and say that they're bringing over demons or anything like that. They're going to reveal this so it's very appealing to people, so that people aren't taken aback by what they're actually doing, so that people, in fact, say that they approve of what CERN's doing and they want to see more of these things and time traveling and all this other stuff and altering our reality with this new type of physics, which can only be described as what? As a paradigm shift, or all things that are beneficial to us, right? Altering reality, altering what's real, what's not. Manipulating our perceptions of reality, manipulating the past. These are all things that they'll manipulate people into thinking are good things, right? And then you start thinking about what they're going to reveal with the future technologies, like the things that they want people to get immersed in, like the metaverse and these alternate realities, these digital realities in the digital realm, then you start saying to yourself, wow, this stuff is all really messed up. This is all stuff that we shouldn't be doing. In fact, this all sounds a bit crazy. Well, it is. I mean, call me crazy, but when I hear that there's a machine, when we just look at the basic things about CERN, where we hear about the death machine, we see what it is, and then they explain what they're trying to do. 99.9% of people don't understand it. If 99.9% of the people don't understand it, then we shouldn't be allowing it to happen, should we? Because whatever that small 0.001% understands that we don't, it can't be good, and it can't be beneficial for us. But they get away with these things because they tell us that they're smarter than we are, and they use all these fancy words like in these articles to make it think like it's an advancement in humanity and we're heading towards some big breakthrough that's going to benefit all of us. And we're all supposed to sit here and go, well, that's great, I can't wait. But many, many years ago, if civilians found out that there was a small group of people, 0.0000001%, that were trying to do something like this and were funded with billions of dollars, including our tax money, they would shut this operation down fast. Just like if civilians had found out about MK Ultra when it first started, they would have shut it down. And in fact, at that time, they may have even overthrown the government for the government running experiments on unwitting and unwilling participants known as civilians who they were doing the experiments on. Or just like some of the other operations I mentioned here, Project Pegasus, right? Why is our government doing these things? What are these things like Operation Ajax? Well, these are all things that were going on in the 1940s that you don't think by now they've mastered it? You don't think by now they know exactly what they're doing? But the real question people should have is why are they doing it? And why are we allowing people with billions of dollars to do things that we don't understand? Well, all they have to do is tell you you're too dumb to understand, and most people just shut up and allow the wicked people to continue to do these things. So those are some stories that are out there about CERN. I had seen it was CERN's 70th birthday. I had seen that they were wishing themselves a happy birthday. Of course they were. Just like every other these people who identify as Democrats out there who can't seem to get out. They want you to, they tell you that this is what they like to do in the bedroom. They tell you, they want you to care so much about the things that they do. And if you ignore them and you say, look, I don't care what your skin color is, I don't care what your preference is in the bed, they get upset about it because they want you to care so much. So of course CERN would let you know, because I think it's part of just this new breed of species that they're deliberately creating. And of course we see that it's working because half of the civilian race now is acting this narcissistic, psychotic way where they're constantly wanting attention. But on top of those things with CERN's birthday, there's articles out there about this new physics that CERN has just happened to come up with or come across. And again, this is them letting you know, hey, scientists can reverse time in quantum systems. You know what that means? Nope. Hey, did you know that we have new physics coming? You know what that means? No. Do you know what it means to have a new paradigm, a shift in paradigm? No, I don't. Well, guess what? We're doing it. So then you start thinking about all the other stuff that's going on with misremembering and people out there that are feeling under spiritual attack 24/7. Well, you probably can thank CERN on their 70th birthday for all those things. So thanks again, CERN, for summoning demonic entities and whatever else you're doing there. You're obviously getting away with it, but really, if people actually cared about the human race, they probably stop artificial intelligence, they probably stop CERN, and they would blame CERN for the ultimate downfall of humanity, which in fact is the internet, the ultimate system of control that the elites plan to use against us when we're all connected to it by the internet of bodies, which we're getting very close to. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.